Ever heard the expression privatize the gains and socialize the losses? Here is one area where that is happening today: prescription rebates. Do you think that's fair? I don't think it's fair. The Trump administration and HHS Secretary Azar don't think so either. Today, we're going to talk about what and why this matters and what you can do about it. My name is Allison DePauli, and I started Altiqe Consulting to help employers like you take control of your healthcare spend and get budgeting predictability. The happy side effect: better access to high quality care and lower out-of-pocket cost for your employees. If you like what you find here, subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit the notifications bell to be notified when we upload new videos. 2 executive orders were just released regarding Medicare and prescriptions. One eliminates the safe harbor shielding Medicare Part D rebates from anti-kickback statutes, and the other ties certain Medicare Part B drug prices to those paid by countries overseas. I suspect you're thinking, Medicare, what does that have to do with me? I'm an employer. Hear me out. The same things are happening to you, and there are a few things that you can do about it. First, the Medicare Part D rebate order. This is what I find most interesting. Drug manufacturers are for this rule, and PBMs and insurance companies are not. A 2018 analysis from Altiqe found that insurers received $89 billion in rebates from drug companies in 2016. According to the US Census, about 56% of the US population is insured in the commercial market, employers, about 17% in Medicare, and about 19% under Medicaid, which has its own separate rules from Medicare, and the remainder are direct purchase, in the military, uninsured, whatever. If I do the math, that means that commercial insurers could lose up to $15 billion in revenue on the Medicare side alone. Now, I don't know about you, but I wouldn't like to lose $15 billion in revenue. As the leader of an organization, what happens when you lose revenue in one bucket? You have to go find it in another, right? Or create a new bucket. I wouldn't presume to know what those companies affected will do. I just know that I disagree with Azar's comment that this will not increase federal spending, patient out-of-pocket costs, or premium for Part D beneficiaries under the final rule. Would any of you lose that kind of money and go, okay? The same kind of things that are happening in Medicare are happening in your own PBM contracts. But here's what you can do. Obtain a copy of the contract, read it, or have your GC or outside counsel read it. If you're fully insured, get your plan document. I imagine, in any case, you'll be shocked by what you find. Take steps to have the contract amended to make sure you can regularly review what has been paid to the pharmacy and what your total cost is. And if you can't do that, find another PBM partner. I'm not convinced that it is possible yet to eliminate 100% of the third-party revenue. However, it is possible to eliminate a substantial amount of it. If you can't see what the pharmacy is being paid, you will not be able to determine what else is happening, specifically who is being paid what of your dollars. We have some other videos about interesting things that happen with pharmacy contracts, and we'll post those below, or at least they're interesting for us insurance nerds. All right, on to the next rule. Tying some Medicare Part B drugs to the lowest adjusted international price. You may have heard these drugs referred to as J-code drugs. They are typically chemotherapy drugs, sometimes other types of drugs that need to be infused in a more controlled setting. These drugs do not run through your PBM contract. They are typically purchased by a facility, marked up, and passed on through the medical claims process. You won't see these in the RX run, so they're even harder to identify. You really need to dig into your medical claims to find them. But here's the problem. The markup on those drugs is substantial. I have a client who has an employee on a particular chemo drug that I wouldn't even pretend to pronounce. The wholesale acquisition cost of this drug is about $1,200 a dose. Their plan paid $4,000 a dose. If this happens one time, okay. Not great, but okay. It doesn't happen one time. For this particular person, it happened 18 times. That's almost a 300% markup. $1,200 to $4,000 might not seem like much, but what if the acquisition cost was about $21,000 and the employer paid $72,000? Do you get to mark up any of your products that much? So what can you do about it? Do you know that there are companies today that can help you alternately source brand and specialty medications? As an employer, with the right PBM, and there are more than a handful, you can pay the lowest adjusted international price today. Once again, no need to wait for federal intervention to solve this problem. If this subject is interesting to you, take a look at the difference in pricing between Medicare contracts, Medicaid contracts, and commercial contracts. Brooklyn 46 does a fantastic job of illustrating the pricing insanity in the US market. We'll post a link to their website below. Medicare Part D is a pass-through contract. So we're going to talk about regular drugs now, meaning that the insurer, PBM, must pass through the cost of the drug. Yet ingredient costs under Medicare Part D are substantially higher than they are in Medicaid and commercial contracts. So it seems that costs are higher in the Medicare side and significantly lower in the Medicaid and commercial side. And there you have the privatizing the gains and socializing the losses. If you're an employer and you are interested in solving your budgeting problem and doing a bit better for your employees, and you're willing to do one or two things a bit differently, click the link below and let's see if we're a good fit.